This conference will now be recorded.
All right. Well, Kelsey, again, welcome to today's session. Um,
Thank you.
Now, I know you have experienced EPT before,
Yes.
but just
Never like this, though.
okay. Well, it works just like with an in-person EPT session. We'll be
Mhm.
using forgiveness and just the techniques of emotional polarity technique to um, dive into the root of um, what's what our focus is going to be today. The biggest difference is that instead of me like doing muscle testing with your arm, um, there's different ways that people do it, but I use my finger to just sort of test on myself. Um, and I don't know if you can see or not, but it's sort of like the finger ends up being, you know, kind of working like a
Can
lever.
you see me okay?
I can hear you, but I can't see you at all.
Oh, there's no video? Huh.
No,
Hold on.
I don't know if your video uh,
Oh,
is
there.
turned off.
It, yeah, I didn't know. Can you see me now, or do I have to hit share?
Okay, I can see you now.
Oh, okay. I thought that you could see me the whole time. I moved my phone. That's why I asked. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I just assumed that. I mean, because some people just aren't comfortable being on uh, camera or Zoom conferences and stuff like that.
Oh, no, I don't know how to work technology.
So, well, for you today, what I guess is the focus that you'd like to have for the session?
So I think, well, and part of me, I don't actually want to, but it came up. But it's so the issue with my parents, like, as a yoga teacher, like I've done so much personal growth work myself. Like I accept them for who they are. They weren't, they're both very emotionally immature. Like they're neglectful. It was never severe, but I mean, they're not ideal. And I just recently realized like the repulsion I felt at them. Um, like I am super uncomfortable with them touching me, hugging me, like no, no contact. And my fiance, we were talking about my mom, and he said, "You're her daughter," and like it hurt, like it made me want to puke, like hearing that statement. And it was kind of like an aha, like okay, there's some stuff there that isn't good or doesn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I like consciously accept them, it's emotionally, it's there's something there. So I would like to work on that.
Yeah. Well, and just to get a little bit more clarification, the repulsion that you referred to, is it only whenever they are trying to be affectionate?
It's really just
Okay.
if
So
they
you're
are,
able to like visit with them, but
yeah, I can talk with them. I don't enjoy it. Sometimes I enjoy my mom. So she has some sort of drug issue. We don't really know all the details, but within the last year, it's some opioid. So half the time we see her, she's like nodding out and not coherent. And then other times she's awake and pleasant. And I can kind of tolerate her, but I don't really feel any like desire for connections. It's mostly like, oh, Mimi's coming over, like for my kids, because they're
right.
kind of excited to see her. And my dad is similar. Like he's kind of, I feel like it's a to-do list thing. Like I don't want to go see or have conversations with him or answer the phone, but I have to avoid his meltdowns.
Mm-hmm.
So that, like, I can talk, but not really.
So just kind of in small doses.
Yeah.
So if you were to, I guess, to state like in a positive sense, like what your desired outcome, um, at the conclusion of today's session.
Okay, so my does. Oh, and what else?
Oh, just that, like if you were to fill in the blank of a statement like, I can blank.
Hmm. I'm thinking. I guess I cannot feel okay with who they are, maybe. I'm not sure. Or how it's affecting me in other ways. I'm not sure what words I would use. Because I would say forgive them, but I feel like I have forgiven them. Like I know they are doing the best that they can, I guess.
Mhm.
So I don't feel like it's.
Would you say, like, because I don't want to like put words in your mouth, so feel free to change this, but would you say that, because it sounded like whenever you were describing it, that a big part of it was whenever your fiance made that statement, you're her daughter, and that triggered something within you. Like there was
Yeah, like
yeah, like feeling like, it sounds like feeling like, oh no, if that's who they are, and yeah, I accept that about them, but if I came from them, like, what does that say about me? Is that along
see,
the
and
lines
I don't
or
feel I don't think I came from them at all. Like I feel like they're just these two adults that like I have to manage.
Mhm.
I mean, I know that I came from them, but I don't feel any sort of like family connection with them whatsoever. So maybe I would like to be able to either accept the lack of connection without being like repulsed at them, or because I know I can't like change them,
right?
or like tolerate them better, like make it not so much of a chore. Like it's emotionally exhausting for me to interact with them. So I guess that would be my desired outcome, is for it to not be so like heavy and stressful to take care of our relationship.
Okay. So do you say something like that you can easily and lovingly sort of detach from the outcome of your interactions with them?
Mm, yeah, maybe not let it negatively affect me.
Okay.
So interact with them without it negatively.
Great. So let's see. Okay. So first thing that we'll do, as you know from other EPT sessions that you've had, we'll establish rapport and not being in the same location. I've got my magnets with me.
I actually,
Oh, awesome.
yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, if you
I
go
don't.
ahead, just go ahead and put the green sides on the um, sides of your head, and then you're just going to want to press in and up gently and take 3 deep breaths. So deep breath in, out, and in, and out. And then one more deep breath in. And now we'll keeping the magnets on either side of your head. You'll want to just place one finger just kind of above the bridge of your nose, like kind of right between your eyes, and the other goes at the base of your skull, just as it like sort of rounds in to connect with your neck. Then we'll do 3 more breaths.
The connection kind of broke up, but is it kind of like equal parts? Like if my fingers would go through my head, they'd be touching?
Yes.
Kind of like that?
Yep.
Okay.
And 3 breaths. Okay, and when you're done with the breathing, you can just go ahead and put the magnet down. Oh, it seems like
do I keep them or do I put them down? I can't hear you.
You can go ahead and put them down.
Yeah.
Seems like we may be having some audio.
Okay. Is it? Yeah. Maybe, hold on. Are you able to hear me or see me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you. Right now, on my screen, where you were, just says paused.
Hmm. You are like frozen too.
Okay, so is it still seem frozen?
Hold on. It's making me reshare my webcam. But it's not. There we go. Cool.
Okay.
I can see. Can you see me now too?
Yes.
Okay, good.
It may just be that we have just a little bit of a delay or something like that from whenever one of us is speaking.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if you would, say I can easily and lovingly interact with my parents without it negatively affecting me.
I can easily interact with my parents without it negatively affecting.
In that test week. So just think about that. Just think about that concern. Think about that issue. And all right. So I was just doing some testing for how much elation and how much distress is surrounding that statement. As far as elation and just how good your body and your energy is with it, it's only testing as a 3 out of 10, and distress at the idea of that and thinking of that is at a 10. So by the end of the session, we want to bring that distress down and the elation up. Okay. And stage of healing. And your starting off stage of healing is testing at stage 4, which that is like depression. And a lot of times it's not depressed as in the sense of, oh, when I think about this, it's like I can't even get out of bed. It's more of this, I really hate this, but I'm just going to have to accept it because I've tried everything else that I know to do, and it's not working to change it. So I'm just stuck here, and I need to get used to being stuck.
That feels, I that.
Okay. Well, and the good news is, by the time we're finished today, you'll be out of that. So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Right. So let's see. Are you hearing a lot of static right now?
I don't.
No? Okay. It must just be on my end.
Yeah, I don't hear any static at all. It's really, really cloudy over here too. Like it's probably going to storm soon, so that could be affecting the signal as well.
And as far as just the silence on my end, I'm just doing muscle testing and
Oh
kind
yeah.
of putting the pieces together, and then I'll explain everything that I'm getting here.
Yeah, take your time. I'm totally fine with that.
Okay. So the organ and emotion that came up was the heart, and the emotion was deserted. And as far as if it was related to, and this is on the sort of like what we call the now picture, like what's going on currently, and it was your sense of deserted, and it was, and I also tested if it was somehow connected to a who or a what, tested as what, and it basically came up as um, yeah, um, it came up as like money owed to you. Um, and by that, and a lot of times, like money isn't actually necessarily cash. And in this case, just what's coming to me, like kind of just what seems to make sense, would be it's like emotional currency. Like there's emotional energy or currency um, that's that you feel owed, and it's not coming in. It's like there's the flow out, but it's not reciprocal.
Yeah.
So if you were to say, if you were to complete the sentence, I feel deserted um, currently because, like, how would you finish that?
Well, I don't currently feel like I am deserted. That's been a theme in the past. Like I've always felt like abandoned but I don't now. And I think because my relationship is so healthy, but I do feel like they're very unattached. I mean, there's no like excitement about anything or emotional currency is a good way to put it, like coming back to me. It's all about like what they take from me. So that does make, but so I feel deserted.
Yeah, because earlier you were saying that you felt like they were like almost like two grown children that you were having to try to manage.
Definitely. I do feel deserted in the fact that my kids don't have grandparents. And like when I see other people with their moms, I'm like, oh, that would be nice. Like to have somebody that you could like, well, in just the relationship that I have with my daughter, like I would love to have that the opposite way. So I guess that is a deserted feeling, but
Okay.
I just picture it with her.
Mm-hmm.
Or him, but did that answer the question?
Yeah,
Okay.
because it sounds like I said, your primary focus, is on her, um, and at the same time, it's sort of like they've emotionally deserted like the family unit. Like you said, you're able to see other people, um, have that, like here's like these multiple generations of our family, sharing time and love for each other, and I mean, it sounds like your kids are missing out on that.
hmm And like the help. Like I see so many people like moms who work and the grandma watches like the kids and it's like happy and healthy. And I can't, like my mom cannot watch drugs. Like she would willingly accept it. Like, it's not a safe place for them to be. So that's another thing I feel like frustrated with. Like there could be so much more potential if I had anybody to help watch them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, yeah, especially for working moms, like just to
Mhm.
have a safe place to be able to,
Yeah,
have your kids for a little while,
yeah.
while you're at work. That's a huge thing to have to manage all by yourself.
Mhm.
Let's see. So I'm going to test and see, was there an original time that you felt
Okay.
this way? Test is yes. Is it what deserted? It was great. So it's testing, still as, the organist part emotion is deserted, and um, it's still testing as you're feeling deserted around age 8. Um, and it's possible that could be like late 7, about to turn 8, or even, potentially late 8, or just kind of
Mhm.
on the cusp there. What do you remember, or what comes up when you think about how things were whenever you were about 8 years old?
So we moved.
Oh,
Um, we lived in, we did live in Xenia, like in town, and I had friends and my cousins, like we all lived in the houses next to each other.
mhm.
And it was the summer before second grade. So it would have been right around 8, is that when we moved out to the country. Um, and I mean, my mom was super depressed all of the childhood that I remember because, like, I mean, my dad was just so, I would be depressed if I had to live with him, you know?
Mhm.
So she didn't really do anything. Like, my dad was up and ready for school, and she would be like asleep. Like, I don't really, the only memories I have of her in that house are TV,
The only memories you have in that house of her are what kind?
her watching TV or sleeping. Like, those are every now and then she would cook something. Like I remember her, the few things like she'd make spaghetti, like a couple of meals. Um, and then telling that, yeah, around that time, that's all I really remember. But it
Well,
that
okay.
being taken away from her hometown and living into the country. Maybe that's what made her desert, like emotionally desert us.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And
Hmm.
and it makes a lot of sense that you know that you would feel deserted because all the support that was right there next to you, you know, with your cousins and with your friends, all of a sudden that's gone.
Hmm.
Um, you know, your dad was having the problems that he was having, and you know, sounds like you know continues to have. And and you said, you know, all of your memories were just her either kind of spaced out watching television, which in a lot of ways is just sort of deserting yourself and anybody who's around you, or you know, checked out in bed and not managing the depression very well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's probably why I get so many people watch TV. Maybe.
Great. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the magnets to uh, scramble and disrupt that uh, energy and charge of feeling deserted.
Okay.
Um, so we're going to put the green um, magnet on your heart, there on your chest, and then the red side is going to go on your forehead. And then just like we did in the beginning, we're going to do 3 deep breaths in and out to disrupt that pattern.
Okay.
So deep breath in.
Do I
Okay.
take them off?
Yeah, after you've done the 3 breaths, you can take those magnets off.
Okay.
Uh, I can tell that you do yoga because you're an excellent breather. Like
Yes.
sometimes people are just like, let's get on with it.
I have plenty of time breathing consciously.
All right, let's see, are there any other emotions on this picture? Yes. Yeah. Control. Okay, so the next organ and emotion that are coming up, um, and this is still on that picture of being around 8 or 8 whenever you guys moved. Um, the emotion that came up was lack of control of events, um, which makes perfect sense because you were 8. Like you didn't get
Hmm.
to control anything. Like you know, so when you like if you were to finish that sentence of I felt my lack of control of events whenever I was 8. Um, like I felt that because how would you put it?
I remember really mad because I had like every time I got out of the bath or shower, I would have to like dig through piles of dirty clothes, try and find clean clothes. And I would get so mad and like I didn't have control. that. I mean, eventually I took control over it. I learned how to like use the washer and everything, but that was at that house too. I don't remember feeling a lack of control in like school, but I remember bored. There was nothing to do, and we weren't allowed to like see. So I was just stuck there all the time.
I remember, and you said you guys moved out to the country too, so there probably wasn't anything close
Oh yeah, nothing.
to go to.
And yeah, nothing. And my mom never wanted to have people over, and then my dad would never let us go anywhere. So they had like opposite views, so we just weren't allowed to do anything or watch TV. That was all that they wanted us to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, and yeah, especially at that age. I mean, I mean, just left you completely stuck because I'm sure there were probably times that your dad was, you know, saying things like, "Well, just have somebody over," and then your mom's like, "No," and then it
Hmm.
just leave, like you said, just left you, we just
Hmm.
left you really stuck.
Yeah.
Um, is it okay to ask another
Mhm.
question?
Yeah.
With you said that whenever you like got out of the shower that you would have to like dig through dirty clothes to find like the cleanest dirty clothes uh,
Hmm.
or something clean. Did that ever cause any like embarrassment at school or
Yeah.
like,
I remember it was like I think third or fourth grade when I started like realizing it, like how dirty I was. Like there would be like ticks on me and like dirt on me. I wouldn't realize it until like I was at school. And then like I remember the original time I like realized it and it was yeah, third or fourth grade. I don't remember which one. I don't think second, but and then I started like taking things by I guess and like figured out how to that happen.
well, and that shows a lot of um, well, just that from a young age that you had a lot of resilience and determination.
Hmm.
To have the awareness, like, okay, this is not how I want things to be, and the
Hmm.
grown-ups in my life aren't fixing it, so I'm just going to take the initiative and do the best. You did the best that you could with it,
Hmm.
and that's just a positive trait that you sounds like you've had from a young age.
Hmm. For being mad that I couldn't, because I mean my parents were like super poor. Like my mom didn't work at all, and then my like, barely got by, so we never really got like new clothes. And I do remember being mad at that or frustrated at that. And then as an adult, like now that I have children, I'm like I would never put them through that. Like how could they put how could they do that to like their children? Because I know it's just so easy not to. Like so that could go back to the like money thing. Even when we were in school, she didn't work, and I never.
And I just want to say, I mean, thank you for uh, just for opening up about some of this and sharing it because I mean these things, even though we may have moved physically through time and space away from them, going back to those places, those memories, and those experiences, um, it can be really challenging. So I just want to say thank you for having the courage to show up for yourself
Mm-hmm.
in this. Stomach.
Pretty much an open book with it, or trying.
Mhm. Okay. So for this, we're going to put the green magnet. We're going to green and green. So green magnet on your stomach, and then green magnet on your forehead. And then just think about that, loss of control, or lack of control whenever you were 8.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 deep breaths. Okay. When you've uh, done the breaths, you can take the magnets down. Let's see. Okay. All right. So the next emotion or next organ that's testing is the gallbladder. So let's see, it's forwards. Okay. So the organ, like I said, was gallbladder. The emotion is galled, and it's testing at
Is
yours. Oh, I'm sorry.
it like fuzz? I did the connection cut out or something. The gallbladder is what?
Oh, the emotion tested as galled, uh, Galled, and it's a word that I guess, well, I run into a lot of folks who aren't necessarily
Yeah.
familiar with that specific word. Um, and I grew up with it just because, and I don't know if it was a Southern thing or a
Maybe.
rural Kentucky thing. Like anytime like somebody got like really chafed like by something, like if they were like wearing jeans and got caught in the rain and their thighs or something got really chafed and irritated. Um, the adults around me always referred to that as like being galled. And
Mm-hmm.
the way I describe it to people is it's like angry. It's in the same sort of category as being angry, but it's like this like raw anger, like from something that's just like you heard people say, like this person just rubs me the wrong way. That's
Mm-hmm.
the way that I kind of make that connection as to what it means. It's like hot and friction, and it's irritating and it's angry, and a lot of times there'll be this sense of like it's just this persistent thing that kept going on.
Mm-hmm. That's how dad
That's how what?
I feel towards my dad a lot of the times is that I think. I mean, maybe my mom somewhere, but my dad came to mind when you said that. It's that emotion.
Okay. And so at age 8, um, is there anything like when you think about that specifically comes up as far as like I felt my feeling galled at age 8 because
I don't really remember that until I was like a teenager. I mean, it could have been there, but I don't. Around 10, he would always used to watch the hunting channel, and I like hated seeing all the animals get shot. And I would like beg and plead with him to change it, and he wouldn't because he liked the scenery. Um, and that was a big fight all the time. For feeling like that then, and that was around 10. That's when I became a vegetarian because I threatened him with it. to try and get him to change the channel. Like, if you don't change it, then I'm not going to eat meat again, because he didn't like that. Didn't change it, and then I've been a vegetarian since. So,
Okay.
but other than that big thing, I don't remember it till I was a teenager.
Okay. Do you think that it could have, just because a little bit ago you'd said that you were like, just remember starting to feel really angry about the isolation and um, the having to like dig through, clothes that weren't clean. Do you think that that could have been,
Maybe.
I guess, sort of when some of it started?
Yeah. I guess it just maybe died when I was a teenager. So that's why I'm remembering like that feeling versus the maybe like 8-year-old version of it. Hmm.
Yeah, because it's testing as that as being connected to that lack of control and having to. I mean, essentially from the time you were in elementary school, having to figure out how to parent yourself,
Hmm.
and um, and it could be that that part of the reason that you're having such a connection with it um, as teenager could be just that it um, at that point it definitely was persistent and had been building up, from the time you were in like second grade.
And then my dad also like crazier. Like, he had a like kind of a breakdown when I was in grade that like lasted throughout high school. So that was his actions like intensified my anger at that period. But I guess according to my mom, he started being like crazier once we moved out there. So, but I don't really remember it as much.
As far as when you say crazier, do you mean in terms of the tantrums and having to have his way?
Like, he's pretty much emotionally like a toddler. Like, throws fits, is very self-centered, can't logic has no effect on him. He takes everything personal. Like, he has no friends or family really anymore that have any sort of relationship with him, because he just, if you do one thing wrong, he like casts you out and says a bunch of insulting things to you and like blames it on you. I mean, just completely irrational anger, like a temper tantrum of a 2-year-old, but in a grown man.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like he's also, whether he realizes it or not, setting himself up
Oh yeah.
to be isolated, because if you expect perfection from humans, you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna be disappointed, 10 times out of 10. That's
He doesn't realize it, but it's all him. It's sad because he really believes it's everybody else, but that's, but he was also very traumatized. Like, my grandma was evil to him, so, you know, he's again doing any sort of work on himself.
right. So this is going to be green and green again.
Okay.
So your gallbladder is on your right side, a little bit more towards your center than your liver is. Liver is a little bit farther out. Uh, and I just want you to think about that, just feeling of just galled and irritated and angry. Uh, and then we'll take 3 deep breaths to disrupt that pattern. Okay, breathe. So I'm not testing any other emotions. So we're ready to move into forgiveness statements. And working remotely like this, you know how normally if you were in the office with somebody, like they would have you put the right side of the magnets on your right hand and the left hand on green. When we're working remotely like this, if you can, just slip them under your feet so that the red side is facing up against your right foot and the green side is facing up against your left foot.
Okay, so the red side under my right foot.
Yes.
And the what for the left?
And the green side under your left foot.
Okay.
So, and that way it still gives you the benefit of having the magnets there to help that energy move through your system more easily, and also leaves your hands free to be able to rub those fear and release points. So.
Okay.
I give myself permission.
I give myself permission
To call up and release.
To call up and release.
Anything and everything.
Anything and everything.
That served me when I was 8.
That served me when I was 8.
But that doesn't serve me now.
No.
And I call it up.
Okay, repeat that. Somebody called me and it made my screen go weird.
Oh,
Can you repeat the last thing you said?
Sure. And I call it up.
And I call it up.
And I release it.
And I release it.
From my spirit, mind, and body.
From my spirit, mind, and body.
Deep breath. I forgive myself for believing.
I forgive myself for believing.
That this sense of feeling repulsed.
That this sense of feeling repulsed.
When I interact with my parents.
When I interact with my parents.
Is the way it has to be forever.
Is the way it has to be forever.
And it's always going to leave me.
And it's always going to leave me.
Feeling deserted.
Feeling deserted.
Feeling loss of control and feeling galled.
Feeling deserted, a loss of control.
And feeling galled.
And feeling galled.
Deep breath. I forgive myself.
I forgive myself.
For consciously or unconsciously.
For consciously or unconsciously.
Feeling responsible.
Feeling responsible.
For my kids not having the same family experience that other kids get to have.
It cut out. So for my kids, what? Not having.
Yeah, not having the same family experience.
Can you say it again?
Not having the same family experience.
For not having the same family experience.
That I see other kids get to have.
That I see other kids get to have.
Deep breath. Forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
that this can never change.
that this can never change.
So I might as well just settle into depression
So I might as well just settle into depression
and feeling stuck
and feeling stuck
and just get used to it.
and just get used to it.
Deep breath. And I raise my level of acceptance
I raise my level of acceptance
to the truth that I can move forward out of this. So you looked like you were frozen there for a few seconds.
You? I didn't.
Okay. Raise my level of acceptance to the truth Are you able to hear me?
Out of.
Kelsey, are you able to hear me at all? Kelsey, I don't know if you can still hear me, but I've lost video and audio with you. Okay, I'm starting to see some video come back. Are you able to hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, awesome.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, I raise my level of acceptance to the truth that I can move forward out of this.
Truth.
That even though at age 8, I couldn't move forward, are you hearing me, or are we still getting the interference?
Is it still?
I'm getting some video, but not very much audio.
Yeah.
Can you say something else? Because it sounded like the audio started to come back on, but then
Can you
cut
hear
out.
me?
Yes. Yeah, I heard you just then.
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you some. It's just kind of like cutting in and out. But we'll keep going forward, and and do the best we can. I apologize for the frustration of some of the technology.
I'm wondering if she turns off her camera, if that will help the audio. Just a guess.
Yeah, Kelsey, do you want to try that? Because that might reduce the amount of like bandwidth that your phone is trying to use.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yep. Can you hear me okay?
Can you hear me?
I could hear you somewhat, but it started to cut out again.
Now I what? I can hear you.
Okay, you said you can hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can, it's still a little bit choppy.
Can you hear me now? Let's to the truth and we're
okay, so yeah.
age 8, I couldn't work.
Right. Even though at age 8, I couldn't move forward. But that was then, and this is now.
Can you hear me now? Can you see me?
I can't see you, but I was able to hear you that last time that you said something.
You can hear me now?
Yes, I can. Are you able to hear me?
And see you.
Okay, you said you can see and hear me?
So, yes, now I can.
Okay.
Yes, I can.
So that even though at age 8, I couldn't move forward.
Even though at age 8, I couldn't move forward.
That was then, and this is now.
That was then, this is now.
I'm not a little kid anymore.
I'm not a little kid anymore.
I'm an adult.
I'm an adult.
And I've got more skills and more resources than I had then.
And I have more skills and more resources than I had then.
To move forward and have a great family.
To move forward and have a great family.
Without feeling the exhaustion of an 8-year-old who has to function like an adult.
Without feeling the exhaustion of an 8-year-old that has to function like an adult.
Deep breath. I love and accept myself.
I love and accept myself.
Have an interaction with my parents.
To have an interaction with my parents.
Showing up as Kelsey today.
Showing up as.
Not showing up as 8-year-old Kelsey.
Not showing up as 8-year-old.
Who feels like she's got to manage these adults.
Who feels like she has to manage these adults.
I give myself permission.
I give myself permission.
To let my parents be responsible for themselves.
To let my parents be responsible for themselves.
And I can be responsible for me.
Okay. And then I can be responsible.
And I can be responsible to my kids.
And I can be responsible to my kids.
In all the ways that my parents weren't responsible to me when I was a child.
In all the ways that my parents weren't responsible for me when I was a child.
Deep breath. I forgive myself for believing.
I forgive myself for believing.
That mom and dad have to change.
that mom and dad have
for any of this to be right for me or for my kids.
for any of this to be right for me or for
Deep breath. I give myself permission
I give myself permission
to release and let go of
to release and let go of
that image of the perfect family that I feel like I should have had when I was 8.
that image of the perfect family that I feel like I should have had when I was 8.
Or even not even the perfect family,
Not even the perfect family.
just a moderately functional and attentive family would have been great.
Some moderate functional tentative family would have been great.
But I didn't get that.
But I didn't get that.
And I love and accept my 8-year-old self
I love and accept my 8-year-old self
for doing such a fantastic job
for doing such a fantastic job
of surviving those experiences
of surviving those experiences
and for having the determination and the resilience
and for having the resilience
to look around and say, okay, my grown-ups have checked out.
to look around and say, okay, my grown-ups have checked out.
So I'll just find a way to do this myself.
So I'll find a way to do this myself.
Deep breath. I forgive my mom and dad
I forget my mom and dad
for not being there for me when I was 8,
for not being there for me when I was 8.
the way that I felt like I needed them to be.
The way that I felt like I needed.
And I can even give love and honor
And I can give love and honor
and gratitude
and gratitude
for the ways that they were there for me,
for the ways that they were there for me,
even if it didn't seem like it was enough.
even if it didn't seem like it was enough.
They're the parents that I got,
They're the parents that I got.
and those experiences
And those experiences
helped make me the person I am today
helped make me the person I am today
and the mom that I am today.
and the mom that I am today.
A mom who's determined
A mom who's determined
to not allow her children to experience those things.
to not allow her children to experience those things.
Deep breath. I forgive mom and dad,
I forgive mom and dad,
and I can love and accept them
and I can love and accept them
um, from my 8-year-old self,
from my 8-year-old self,
knowing that if they could have done better,
knowing that if they could have done better,
that if they realized the impact of how they were behaving,
that if they realized the fact of how they were behaving,
they probably would have done things differently.
they probably would have done things differently.
Deep breath. And I can give myself permission
I can give myself permission
to love and accept my parents as they are today,
to love and accept my parents as they are today,
knowing that they just don't get it.
knowing that they just,
And if they did, they would probably do things differently.
and if they did, they would probably do things differently.
Deep breath. I give my mom and dad permission to forgive me.
I give my mom, give me,
for all the times that I have maybe expected more from them than what they were capable of giving.
For all the time I expected more from them than they were capable of giving.
I give them permission to forgive me
I give them permission to forgive me
for all the times that I have felt galled
for all the times that I have felt galled
and deserted
and deserted
because they weren't able to function on my level
because they weren't able to function on my level
when I was 8
when I was 8
or today.
or today.
Deep breath. I love and accept myself.
I love and accept myself,
Letting go of that anger that I am entitled to.
letting go of that anger that I am entitled to.
That anger that comes from a place
The anger that comes from a place
of being a very attentive and engaged mom.
from being a very attentive and engaged mom
And struggling to understand
and struggling to understand
how they could watch TV and lay in bed all day.
how they could watch TV and lay in bed all day.
And all the times that they were there, but not really there.
And all the times that they were there but not really there.
Deep breath. So without these patterns,
So without these patterns
of feeling deserted,
of feeling deserted,
I'm free
I am free
to feel secure, safe, and complete.
to feel secure, safe, and complete.
I can speak to that 8-year-old Kelsey inside of me,
I can speak to the 8-year-old Kelsey inside of me,
and I can reassure her
and I can reassure her
that you're safe
that you're safe
and you can feel secure
and that you can feel secure
because I've got this.
because I've got this.
I can take care of you,
I can take care of you,
and we don't have to feel
and we don't have to feel
like there's something missing from our family or our life
like there's something missing from our family or our life
because mom and dad are checked out and immature.
because my mom and dad are out and immature.
Deep breath. Without this pattern of feeling, out of control,
Without this feeling or pattern of feeling out of control,
I can make more room in my heart and in my life
I can make more room in my heart and in my life
to feel worthy,
to feel worthy,
calm, and content.
calm, and content.
I can know
I can know
that I'm worthy of love,
that I am worthy of love,
even if that emotional currency isn't coming to me from my parents the way that I feel like it should.
even if that emotional currency isn't coming to me from my parents the way I think it should.
And even if it's not coming to my kids the way that I think it should,
And even if it's not coming to my kids the way I think it should,
I can still know that I'm worthy
I can still know that I'm worthy
of love
of love
and of having clean clothes
and of having clean clothes
and not having to watch God's little furry creatures get shot.
and not having to watch God's little furry creatures get shot.
And I can feel safe
And I can feel safe
in the life that I create for myself and for my children.
in the life that I create for myself and my children.
Deep breath. And whether my children and me have that family experience
and whether or not my children and I have this family experience
of grandparents who are active and engaged
of grandparents who are active and engaged
and who help out with
and who
babysitting,
help out with babysitting,
I can still be content
I can still be content
with everything that I have.
with everything that
I give myself permission to see the abundance in my life
I give myself permission to see the abundance in my life
and to be grateful for how it flows to me.
and to be grateful for how it flows.
Deep breath. And without this, um, just without this irritating energy of feeling galled,
Without this irritating energy of feeling cold,
I make more room
I make more room
and create so much more space
and create so much more space
for an absolute overflow of love
for an absolute overflow of love
and of forgiveness and of happiness.
and of forgiveness and of happiness.
I can interact with my parents
I can interact with my parents
and feel love,
and feel love,
even if whether or not I feel it coming from them.
whether or not I feel it coming from them.
I can be confident that God is love
I can be confident that God is love
and that God is always with me,
and that God is always with me,
no matter who I'm around.
no matter who I'm around.
So that means love is always with me.
So that means love is always with me.
And from that space
And from that space,
and flow of divine love,
the flow of divine love,
I can walk in forgiveness and happiness.
I can walk in forgiveness and happiness.
Deep breath. Are there, Kelsey, are there any other forgiveness statements that are coming to mind for you?
Not really.
Okay.
No, I can't think of any.
All right. Let's see. So I want you to think about that original forgiveness statement of easily and lovingly being able to interact with your parents without it negatively affecting you.
Okay.
And okay. Well, I just checked in again. Um, okay. Yeah, elation went from a 3 when we started up to a 9 as we're wrapping things up. Distress went from a 10 out of 10 down to a 2, which is exactly the kind of movement that we wanted to see. And stage of feeling went from 4, just feeling kind of depressed and stuck, and just kind of get used to it, up to a 7, which is the just creation of new life, and being ready to step into the truth of that intention that we set at the beginning.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So how would you say, like if you were to just describe it, how would you say you feel right now compared to when we started?
Better, for sure. I don't think I'll fully know, until as the day goes on. But I don't feel anything negative. Like I don't feel anything bad. My body feels fine.
Okay, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
As you probably know from other other EPT sessions that you've had. Sometimes it's like
Mhm.
things are shifting and settling for,
Mhm.
for a few days afterwards. Um, and um, if you want, I can send you. I don't know if you got my email address in the email that went out this morning.
Mhm.
But if you didn't, I can send that to you. So if something does come up within the next couple of 3 days, um, you can just let me know, and and we can work on that.
Yeah.
But just for the rest of today, drink lots of water. If you have the opportunity to get some rest, which with 3 kids under 6, not likely to happen. But if
Not till
you know,
9.
yeah,
Yeah.
if the heavens part and there's an opportunity to rest and for you to be kind to yourself, just make sure that you do that.
It always amazes me how much yawning like there is in these sessions. And like I know it's explained it's like an energy release, but that's one thing that always amazes me is
Yeah.
how much it is. It's like I'm just gonna be yawning for the next 10 hours. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
well,
and some people don't yawn. Some people end up like burping, which is a little bit more socially awkward.
interesting. Yeah, I'm glad I'm yawning then instead. But yeah, I appreciate you doing that, for doing this.
Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity to work with you.